Hey everybody, Kuru Paul here. One of the biggest challenges in learning a foreign language by yourself is having somebody to practice with. Sure, you've been watching my videos or you're over in the Kuru Spanish crew, my paid group, and you're taking my organized course and you are learning how to create sentences using patterns and everything else. But you gotta practice these things, right? Well, one of the options is, you can get online and get a live tutor, but you gotta coordinate your times and everything. But another great option is an AI tutor that you can practice with. And then you don't feel self-conscious either because, well, it's not a real person. This video is for those folks who are beginners, maybe absolute beginners, maybe a little beyond. They've been on Duolingo for like 90 days or 100 days. So, they know a bunch of random words and phrases. I'm not super impressed by Duolingo. They want to get better. How do you use an AI tutor if that's your level? Sure, if you're intermediate or advanced, you just talk to this thing about all kinds of things. But for those beginners, it can be challenging. So that's what I'll be talking about in today's video, all right? If that sounds like something you're interested in, why don't we go ahead and stick around, all right? All right, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm actually going to be showing you how to do this on Langua. I've been trying so many different AIs lately and haven't been impressed by a lot of them. One that has impressed me and has continued to impress me because they keep making improvements is Langua. This is not a sponsored post, but I do have an affiliate link for them. If you want to check it out, do me a favor and use my link. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out. You'll find that in the description section and pinned to the top of the comments. Now, when you go through my link, and hopefully you did, you're going to come to Langua Talk. That's the actual site that Langua's on. And sometimes that confuses folks because they're like, okay, this is apparently for tutors. And yes, you can hire tutors through this site. But there's also a section called Langua, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. Why didn't they call it Langua AI so you know it's AI? I don't know. We'd have to ask them. So let's go ahead and pop into this. I'm going to start right with the settings for you folks who are beginners. We're going to go down this left column here. And we're going to come into language settings. And our first one is we want to make sure that this is on Spanish. When you signed up for Langua, chances are you answered some of these things already. But if you didn't or you want to change your answers, this is how you do it. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that we're focusing on the AI for Spanish today, but for example, let's say you had Langua and you want to practice your Italian, you're going to come right back in here, you can change it to Italian and then go practice Italian. There's no extra cost for that. We have Spanish. The next thing we're going to choose is what type of Spanish? Latin American Spanish, Spain Spanish. And this next section, what is your current level? This is extremely important because this is going to change how our experience is. Let's say we are absolute beginners or pretty close. Then we're going to choose right here on top, beginner. Okay, hit save. We don't have to deal with anything else yet. When we do that, we're going to see the English and Spanish come out. And that's really useful when you're an absolute beginner. We're going to go to the second tab and hit chat settings. What we like to have on here is listen and read on this top one. And when we do that, that means we're going to hear it and we're going to see it. That is also very helpful when you're new. Our next box here is where we're going to pick our AI tutor. And this is something that sets Langua apart. A lot of AI systems just have this very neutral sounding, kind of like a Disney dubbing kind of Spanish. You can't choose your country. Now, they don't have every country here yet, but they keep adding them. But here on Langua, you can choose AI tutors from all over. Spain, we have Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Uruguay, Chile, and they just keep adding more. There's more on here than the last time I looked like a month ago. So pretty impressed with that. I'm going to stick with Santiago from Mexico. So why is that important? Well, apart from the fact that they're using the correct accent and you're trying to work on your listening comprehension, so that's useful. They're also using the word choice, colloquialisms, and slang from that area. When we scroll down here, our options down here are auto record and auto send. I'm going to talk about those together. If you want to have more of a natural conversation with the AI, it talks, you talk without hitting any buttons, things like that, click on those two. The way that works is when the AI is done, it'll automatically turn on your microphone and start recording what you say. When you stop talking, it'll wait a couple seconds and then it will send it. I don't like these options. I'm an attention deficit person. I'm all over the place. I love the AI. I'll play with it. We'll say a few things and then I'm like checking an email or going to get more coffee or my wife called me, something like that. So I don't check those boxes. Next one you have is autocorrect. When you're a beginner, don't even turn that on. You won't need it. And our next one here is ask me to repeat corrections. And what that means is that when you say something to the AI, it's going to correct you. When you click that box, the AI is going to say, here's your correction, now you say it. And you're going to have to repeat it before you go on with the conversation. Now, if you learn well that way, that's the method for you, click that box. Personally, that one would drive me nuts, so I don't click it. And the last one is, don't always ask me a question. The AI is going to ask you a lot of questions because it's trying to prompt you to speak Spanish. If you don't like that type of a format, you can click on that, but then you're going to have to be a lot more interactive with the AI to make that work, all right? Click Save Your Settings. We're going to come over to My Activity Hub, and we're going to jump right into Speak with the AI. Now, if you decide you want to change tutors or you want to change one of those options like, the auto record, auto send, you don't have to go back into settings. You can come right down here to change conversation settings. This won't let you change the language if you want to jump from language to language, but you can change several other features. So we're going to click about chat about anything, general conversations.
Hola, ¿qué tal estás? Hello, how are you?
So because we have the setting at absolute beginner here, it's going to give us the English every single time, which I find helpful if you don't know a language. Now, if you want to work on your listening comprehension, I recommend just not looking at the screen, listening, and then looking at the screen. Now, if you want to hear it again, you can hit this little speaker right here. We don't need to hear it again. Next one over is a turtle. Bet you can guess what that one does. Slows things down. Now, I don't recommend you use it because the point is that you work on your listening comprehension, which means you have to hear Spanish spoken at a certain pace, not like this.
Hola, ¿qué tal estás?
No, don't do that one. And this last button here is not useful in this setting because it actually translates what the Spanish was and we can already see, so that's not as useful. We can answer in English or Spanish. I just hit my record button. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Quiero aprender español, por favor. And I can hit send.
Estoy muy bien, gracias. ¿De qué tema te gustaría platicar?
Now I'm going to look.
I'm very well, thanks. What topic would you like to chat about?
Now take a look at my response up there. It typed what I said. It's pretty accurate as far as listening to me, and I did it with a really thick American accent, and it's still there. If I click on the little pencil there, this is where corrections will come up. It didn't find any errors with what I said. This next one here will give me alternatives to what I said. It's another way to kind of expand, your understanding of the language pretty quickly. You can speak English to it. I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish very well. I'm here to learn the colors in Spanish.
No te preocupes, vamos a aprender los colores. ¿Cuál es tu color favorito? Don't worry.
So he's responding, and here's my English up here. So let's go ahead and we'll just click on the little pencil. So I can see the translation of what I said in Spanish. I find this particularly useful. So you can go through it this way. After a while, you're not going to want to see that English, right? So we're going to get out of that. Go to Settings. And we're going to change it to Basic from Beginner. Save our settings. Go back into the hub. And chat about anything.
Hola, Paul. ¿Qué tal estás? ¿De qué quieres platicar hoy?
We don't see the English anymore, right? If we want to see it, we can click this little button here, which we weren't using the first time because we didn't need it. I'm a beginner in Spanish, and I would like you to correct my Spanish. Are you ready to start?
Claro. ¿Qué tema te gustaría explorar mientras practicamos?
In this case, look, it went ahead and translated what I said right into Spanish because we're on this beginner one now. So where do you go from here? Well, if you've been taking my course and learning how to, create sentences with patterns out of Spanish and how to pop in vocabulary to say what you want, just start practicing those things. Quiero ir a la playa hoy.
Qué buena idea con este calor. Las playas mexicanas son increíbles. ¿A cuál playa te gustaría ir?
And if we don't know what he says, we just click on our little button, right? And it tells us, no sé las playas de este lugar. And no, I don't normally sound like,
Aquí cerca está Playa del Carmen. Es muy famosa y bonita. ¿Prefieres una playa tranquila o una más turística?
and no, I don't normally sound like that, but it is picking up my really thick American accent when I do that. And let's see if there were any problems with this. Yes, there was, because I used the verb saber instead of conocer, and I should have used conocer, and it told me. I should have said, no conozco las playas de este lugar. So this is how it's going to correct you, piece by piece. Now, if you wanted the AI to tell you what the correction was and then tell you to repeat it, you could have clicked that option. Now you'll notice he keeps asking me questions, and that's because we didn't click that box. If we click that box, he stops asking all these questions. It's just up to you. But you can change the topic and say other sentences, whatever you want. Anoche fui a la tienda con mis amigos.
Qué padre que saliste con amigos. A mí también me gusta salir en la noche cuando hace menos calor. ¿Qué compraron en la tienda?
I changed the subject. He didn't get upset. He just responded appropriately. So as you're going through my lessons or anybody's lessons and you just want to practice saying things, this is a good way to do it. And then if you want to check it, remember you can hit that little pencil. No errors detected. Yes, I'm doing a great job as a beginner. Now for intermediate or advanced students, there are tons of options here. Obviously you can just stay and chat about anything and, well, chat about anything. But there's other options here. You can do a role play with the AI, have a debate. I mean, those can get really involved with the vocabulary. There's vocab and games. Play with that a little bit, not too much. Grammar practice is fantastic. We can choose a tense and translate sentences from English to Spanish. Perfect for intermediate students. Perfect. Ask me targeted questions for practicing tenses. Ask me multiple choice questions. This one is useful for beginners.
Is there a tense or other aspect of Mexican Spanish grammar you would like to practice? I will ask you questions to facilitate this. Also, let me know if you need me to adjust the difficulty at any point.
I like that. It will adjust the difficulty. If they're too complex, you say, hey, they're too complex, I need them easier. Boom, another thing's going to come out.
How would you say I drink coffee? A. Yo bebo café. B. Yo tomo café. C. Yo bebe café.
Actually, A and B would be correct.
Both A and B are indeed correct. Here's your next question. How would you say we live in Mexico?
So you can see how that would be useful for people that are more beginners. I think intermediate, I don't see that one as being as useful. I think it would start to drive me nuts after a while. But it really is going to depend where you are. Now, if you do decide to go with Langua and you come over to the Activity Hub, there are other things you can do. Listen to podcasts, learn vocab with flashcards that you've been creating through this thing. I'll probably do another video talking about all that. That's not what I want to focus on. Just want to focus on how to use the AI as an absolute beginner. So I hope I accomplished that. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And until next time, hasta luego.